Hi, SMTULSA friends. I'm Melissa Megginson, and I am the Sponsorships and Community Manager here at Tailwind. Now, you may be thinking, hold on, I thought it was supposed to be Gianni and Sarah talking to me. And that's true. We had a slight change in the lineup, but you're still going to learn all about Instagram and all about Pinterest. So I'm going to get us started with Instagram, and then I'll kick it over to Elisa to tell you everything you need to know about Pinterest. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So today I'm really excited to be talking to you all about how to create an Instagram presence that attracts your perfect client. We'll cover everything from setting up the perfect foundation to closing the deal. But first, let's bust a few myths. There are a number of widely believed myths that stifle creators on Instagram. So we're going to cover them to make sure you're in the perfect mindset before we get into the nitty-gritty of how to turn your Instagram followers into customers. First, and in my opinion, the absolute worst myth that we hear from people is that they believe that their life and their work is not Instagram worthy. Some people have this idea in their head that you shouldn't post on Instagram if you aren't traveling to Machu Picchu or running a marathon, which who can do that nowadays? In the same breath, these folks will tell you that Instagram is full of narcissistic, fake people living fake lives and posting fake photos for likes. This is so wrong, it makes my heart hurt. Anything can be interesting once you find your ideal audience. The secret is to find those people who are the same kind of weird as you. But if you've ever felt like you're not Instagram worthy, you're not alone. In fact, this concept has even led to Instagram removing like counts. Adam Masori, head of Instagram, says, the big idea is to try and make Instagram feel less pressurized, to make it less of a competition. So you can spend a little bit less time worrying about how many likes you have and a little bit more time connecting with people or things that inspire you. So you want to get more clients, you want to get more site traffic, you want to grow your business on Instagram, but you also want to spend time with your friends and family. Too bad you can't have it both, right? Wrong. It's all about time management. You don't have to constantly be on Instagram liking, commenting, and following people if you don't want to be. There's a lot of success to be found in using your time strategically, rather than just obsessing over every moment you spend in the app. In an interview on the Tailwind blog, Tailwind team member and Instagram influencer Chloe Elise talked about how she was able to grow from 0 to more than 25,000 followers in less than 1 year by spending just 1 hour a day on Instagram. She had a strategy early on to be very intentional with how she spent her time on the app. Not only did it help her protect her time, but it also forced her to focus on being intentional with what she was doing on Instagram. Specifically, Chloe says, it's important to make sure that you're not draining yourself because this is the long game. It takes commitment. The more you can go into your Instagram strategy fresh-minded and feeling good, not like it's a burden, the better ideas you'll have and the more creative you're going to feel. So not only can you be more protective of your time, focus on what's important, and take a more strategic approach to Instagram, but you can also do this and not have to worry about constantly posting to Instagram. Approved partner tools like Tailwind allow you to auto-publish your posts to Instagram so you can batch plan your content and use your allotted time per day to engage with your community on Instagram. The last myth I'd like to cover is this idea that the only way you're going to find success on Instagram is if you pay for advertising. And this is an especially worrisome myth with Instagram's parent company, Facebook, announcing Facebook Zero early in 2018, where they started deprioritizing posts from brands in the feed. However, there's still community and organic reach to be had on Instagram. You can, of course, buy ads, but don't feel like you have to buy them to be successful. Organic success is all about following best practices, getting in touch with your community on Instagram, and understanding how the algorithm works to show your content. So now that we've busted a few myths, let's get into the best ways to turn your Instagram followers into paying clients. We can't build anything without a solid foundation. So first, we're going to start by understanding your audience and learning how to attract them. Next, we're going to talk about how to create content that your audience will absolutely love. So even if you're not a designer, even if you're not a photographer, even if right now you just can't think of anything interesting to post, we're going to turn you into a content creating machine. And after we've set you up for success, we'll talk about how to turn those followers into paying clients. So let's set that foundation and learn how to understand your audience. There are more than 1 billion accounts on Instagram, and I'm so sorry to let you know, but they're not all going to want to follow you. But like I mentioned before, even if you're a weirdo cat lady like me, you can absolutely find your ideal audience on Instagram and start building brand awareness. When thinking about your audience on Instagram, you have to think about who is it that would be attracted to my brand? Who are those people that make up your ideal audience? It can be really daunting to go from zero to full audience insights. So here are a few things to think about when deciding who that perfect person is for your brand. First, who are the people that have a need that you can fill? If you're a blogger, it could be related to the expertise that you write about. If you're a maker or a seller, it could be related to what your products do to make the buyer's life better and easier. Next, who are those people that you can deeply impact? To build an ideal audience, you want to focus on those people who will become super fans because you have fulfilled something that they deeply needed. After that, let's think about who are the people that you truly enjoy engaging with. Who are those people who leave comments or ask questions that put a huge smile on your face? This could be your ideal client. This could be your best friend. This could be anyone supporting you that you just really, really love interacting with. Finally, who are those people that are really excited to buy what you're selling, work with your company, and support your efforts? These could be the people who have purchased from you before or your readers who open up every single email newsletter. One thing that we do here at Tailwind to understand this better is jumping on customer development calls. We actually talk to our members and learn about them. What are their hopes? What's holding them back? What's missing for them? Anything like this can help us understand our members and create a connection with them while building a product that is perfectly in line with what they're looking for. Now that you have a better understanding of your ideal audience, it's time to take a look at what's already resonating with them. On Instagram, if you have a business account or a creator account, you can click on the settings menu and then insights to take a look at your feed posts. It will automatically show the posts with the highest number of engagements for the year, so take a note of what's working for you. What your ideal audience is interested in will help you with the algorithm, but it's not the only thing that plays into it. When Instagram changed the feed a few years ago, they focused on 3 things when personalizing the feed. The first is based on interests. They're trying to predict what you're going to be double tapping and commenting on so that will be at the top of your feed. This is why understanding your ideal audience is so important. You need to know what they're interested in and deliver that content in your feed. Next, they're looking at relationships between accounts. So I am like most casual Instagram users and interact with my friends and family on Instagram. However, there are also brands, influencers, even bridal gown companies as I'm getting ready for my own marriage that I love and that I actually seek out. Once you have that double tap from your ideal audience, keep the momentum going by creating great content to make sure they're continuing to love on your account. And finally, timing does still play a part in where your post lands in the feed. Well, I'm sure some of us have been scrolling through Instagram and hit a post that might be a few days old or even a week old. That's not going to be the case for the majority of accounts. Typically, when you see those older posts in your feed, it's due to your interests and your relationship with that account. You may see your best friend's kid's photo from a few days ago that you hadn't seen before, and they're going to show that to you because they know that's something that you're interested in, and that's a relationship that you engage with a lot. Since timing does still play a part, it is important to post when your audience is active. So I am, of course, going to recommend using Tailwind's Smart Schedule. That's based on when your audience is active, not based on when my audience is active or when Walmart's audience is active, but when your audience is active to schedule your posts. You can also share your posts in your stories to drive people to it and build momentum that way. Once you understand a little bit more about who your ideal audience is, it's time to build out a profile that allows you to attract and connect with your community on Instagram. And that starts with putting your best face forward. You want to optimize your bio. You have 30 characters in your handle. Try to keep it short, memorable, and as close to your brand name as you can get. When choosing a profile picture, choose an image that's easily recognizable as your business. If you have a logo that people will recognize as your company, use that. However, if your face is the actual face of your company, go ahead and put that beautiful face out there. The name of your account should include words that people would use when searching for you. Your name, your niche, your industry, your city, your location. This is searchable within Instagram, so make sure you're using those keywords. And finally, you get 150 characters in your bio to tell Instagram what you're all about. This is your 150 character elevator pitch to get people to follow you. To raise awareness with your community, you can tag people both in an image on a post and in the caption or comments. By tagging an account in the image, that post will appear on their profile in the tagged image section. They can also then share that image to their stories to help you spread brand awareness. Geotagging your posts means those images will show up when someone is looking for your location. This really helps you find and connect with people locally. You should also click through on location tags to interact with your local community. Cross-promoting your Instagram content to a platform that you've already built up a community on is a great way to find your people on Instagram. This could be sharing a post to your Facebook page, adding a widget to your website, sharing the image in an email list. Wherever your community is, make sure that you are letting them know that you are active and on Instagram. So looking at the stats, it's easy to see why Instagram hashtags play such an important role on the platform. Posts with at least one hashtag get 12.6% more engagement. Using 9 to 12 hashtags helps you get more engagement, but brands are only averaging 2.5 hashtags per post. So if you're not a fan of hashtags, I really want to try and reframe your thinking. They are the way that communities gather and interact on Instagram. That ideal audience that we've been talking about is probably hanging out on Instagram, following certain hashtags and engaging with those posts. Now, before you go adding hashtag love, hashtag cute on everything, it's really important to do your hashtag research. Go ahead and look at other profiles to understand where your community might be. We recommend auditing 3 competitors and 3 influencers in your space. Look at the hashtags they're using and see if any stick out as surprising or seem like they're really working. Those ones that they're using again and again. From those hashtags, take a look at the ones related to it on Instagram by typing in that hashtag in search and clicking on a few images to see what other hashtags are used with that hashtag. Make a list of hashtags that are related to your brand and keep them somewhere easily accessible, like your Notes app. Once you've done some research, collect lists of hashtags related to different topics your brand is known for. For example, a makeup artist might focus on hashtag natural beauty, hashtag self-care, hashtag beauty guru, hashtag glowing skin, and you can even make it super specific for your area by putting in your city into the hashtag. So Tulsa MUA could help you discover other makeup artists or those looking for a makeup artist in your local area. When researching, look for hashtags that lead to relevant content that your audience is engaging with, have a great stream of inspiration for you to model your posts after, give insight into what content your audience is interacting with, and those that will help you land in that coveted top post section. Now, all of this hashtag research feels like it can take up a ton of time, but I'm so happy to let you know that it does not have to. Tailwind's hashtag finder recommends hashtags as you're typing in your caption. You can see the popularity of hashtags, exit out of the ones that aren't quite a fit, save great posts for later, and even click through to see what kind of content is related to those hashtags. Now that we have a great foundation, it's time to start posting. In the beginning, we talked about not feeling Insta-worthy. But I'm here to help you understand that you are Insta-worthy and that you can create posts that will drive sales and bookings with your perfect clients. To get started, let's think about the 5 topics that you want to be known for. If you're a fitness expert, you may focus on nutrition, workouts, weight loss, health, and apparel. Instagram allows you to share a variety of content types. So when you're sharing out those different topics, make sure that you're focusing on balancing videos, stories, photos, and carousels. Consistency is key to finding success on any platform. If you don't add great content consistently, the platform and your audience isn't going to show you the love. To make this a little bit easier, Tailwind came up with content plans to help you get inspired and keep your feed consistent. There are a number of different plans you can use, so let's go ahead and jump into the dashboard and take a real quick look. So here I am in my Tailwind dashboard. I don't have any drafts scheduled, so I could upload a photo or I could choose a free stock photo from our Unsplash integration. But what I really want to focus on is getting my content plan in place. So I'm going to come over here and click on Set Up Content Plan. This is a great way for you to never run out of ideas on what to post again. We'll give you themes, prompts, and example posts for each day that you have scheduled. This helps you stay consistent and keeps your content fresh. So we have a few different categories that you can choose from that best describes your business that we will recommend content plans for. So there's I publish content online. This could be a blogger or a YouTuber. I sell online, so something like an e-commerce store. I provide a service to clients, and I have a physical store. I'm going to go ahead and do I publish content online. That's most similar to what I do, and click on Generate Plan. From here, I just have 2 things that are recommended for me given my content mix. So I can either go ahead and see the plan in my dashboard with this educational and inspirational posts, or I can customize my plan. So if I want more content, I've customized this before in the past, I can go in and add those different content types within here. So if I don't want 3 inspires in a row, I can click down and choose another post type. So we have ones that are pre-populated, so repurpose, educate, relate, promote, connect, inspire, or if you have your own custom post type, so maybe you have a like Wedding Wednesday, you can put that in and say Wedding Wednesday. And save that so that you know that on Wednesdays it's going to be about weddings. I'll save my changes. So let's see my plan in the dashboard. Now when I come over here, I can see my 9 grid, these photos that I've posted before. So if I wanted to go ahead and schedule a new post, I could click on choose stock photos. I'll type in wedding. And that's a beautiful image. I'll upload as draft. And I'm just going to click in here. I can add multiple images to make it a carousel post, but I'm just going to start typing in my caption, which I'll say, I can't wait to get married in October. And you can see as I was typing, it started recommending different suggestions based on what I was typing here. So I don't have a wedding one in here, so I'm going to do hashtag wedding to kind of seed that content. So now we have the not Insta wedding, wedding dress, wedding planning. Just choose a few in here. And if I needed caption help, I could click here, or I can come over here and see the different caption types for if this is an inspire posts. So I can click through and see different types of inspirational posts. So this one from Shopify, or I can click through and see caption templates. For me, captions are really difficult to come up with. So I love that we have this idea of what you can say and different ways that you can come up with new captions. There are also prompts down here that can sort of help get those creative juices flowing. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule this one, and it's easy as that. Now it is right there. If I wanted it to be my wedding Wednesday, I could just drag it in, and there we go. So even with a content plan in place, you want to make sure your feed looks and feels consistent. And there are a lot of ways to keep a consistent style to your feed. You could add black and white borders, you could create a puzzle, you could just use flat lays, you could just use black and white photos. There's a ton of different options out there. Click around on different profiles to get inspired and see what feels right to you. Color says a lot about a profile. A serious photographer may choose a moody black and white theme, whereas Tailwind has always leaned more on the playful, vibrant look with our feed. If you decide to create images with text on them, make sure you keep the font consistent. Different fonts convey different personalities, so pick one that fits with your brand. It's not all about looks when it comes to increasing your engagement. So you want to optimize what's working and make it personal so people feel connected to your brand. Use analytics to create more relevant content for your audience. Make sure you're using all of Instagram's amazing features. They included those for a reason. Encourage interaction from your audience by including a call to action. For example, if you posted an inspiring quote, ask your followers to tag a friend that they want to encourage today. And finally, make sure you're cohesive with your branding. If Tailwind all of a sudden started making recipe posts, that wouldn't make any sense. Instead, we stick to our mission: make world-class marketing easy for everyone. At this point, you may be questioning my myth busting from earlier. How can you do all of that and not spend your life on Instagram? Well, the right tools make this so much easier. First, we have Easel. This is just a super simple way to create multiple images and multiple designs for your different profiles, including Instagram. LifeLapse is a super fun stop motion video creating app. Those really incredible videos that you see that seem like they'd be so hard to create are super simple when you're using a tool like LifeLapse. If you're not a great photographer, you can use Unsplash to find absolutely stunning images that you can use royalty-free. This is the tool that we have integrated with Tailwind, so you can either go to unsplash.com or you can use our integration within the Tailwind dashboard. VSCO or Visco is a photography editing tool that is super powerful, but you can use directly on your phone. You can even create your own filters within Visco and share them to create a cohesive look to your feed. And of course, there's Tailwind. From auto-posting feed posts and videos to really easy hashtag research to our Unsplash integration to story scheduling to so much more, we are your one-stop shop for all things Instagram. So with a perfect foundation and a foolproof posting plan, it's time to focus on closing the deal. But first, how do you know if you found success if you're not looking at the numbers? Analytics don't have to be scary. In fact, they really need to be your best friend. Let's look at some of the metrics you should be paying attention to so that you can become your analytics #1 fan. When thinking about the metrics that matter, one of the great ones that Instagram provides in the app is the ability to see profile views. These are the number of people who have seen your account, but you can't see who has viewed your profile. Reach and impressions are important to pay attention to, but it can be a little confusing what the difference is between the two in Instagram analytics. So with reach, we're looking at the total number of unique accounts that have seen your post or story. Impressions are the total number of times users saw your post or story, no matter if they viewed it once or 10 times. Pairing those numbers with engagement data like likes or comments or clicks will help you understand what type of content performs best for your audience over time. Tailwind's engagement data paired with Instagram's analytics really helps to give you a complete view of your brand on Instagram. But those metrics are only useful if you use them. So what do you do with this data? It can help you learn more about your industry at large, give you ideas about new products or offerings to create, and lets you zero in on the trends that matter to your business and your industry. Now we are ready to get to the good stuff. How can you drive traffic from Instagram? To be honest, Instagram is super weird when it comes to traffic. Unlike other social networks, you can't add direct links to posts. Instagram makes it a little bit more interesting to drive traffic to your site. And Instagram actually gets even weirder. Most of that traffic from those links on websites like Facebook or Twitter comes through as social traffic. So, since Instagram is a social network, that traffic should show up as social traffic, right? No. Instagram traffic comes through as direct traffic, which is so much harder to track without a UTM or a tracking link like a bit.ly. But how can you even drive that traffic in the first place? First, if you have more than 10,000 followers or you're verified on Instagram, then you can add a link to your Instagram stories. This is great, but those links disappear after 24 hours unless you add them to your highlights. Next, if you have an online store and you've been approved, then you can use product tags on your Instagram posts. These allow Instagrammers to tap on the picture and see the different items available, as well as click through and actually make a purchase. Instagram also allows you to use links if you purchase ads. These can be for feed posts or story posts, and it turns that post into a link. You can buy them within the Instagram app or on your Facebook profile. You can also use links on IGTV videos. So you can either record a live video or upload a video to create an Instagram TV. IGTV is saved onto the IGTV section of your profile. You can use links within the description on your IGTVs. Finally, we all have that coveted link in bio. It's the one link that can point to your homepage, to a product you're promoting, to a photography special, whatever it is you would like. For most of us, this is the one opportunity to transport viewers from Instagram to what it is that they care about the most. This could be your shop, it could be your YouTube channel, it could be affiliate links, your newsletter. However, it can be a huge pain to edit your bio every single time you want to point someone to a different link. So Tailwind offers Smart Bio, a completely free link in bio so that you can have one link for everything. You'll never have to change your bio link again. You will always have your most important links available through your bio link. Your Smart Bio will automatically update with new post links when you use Tailwind to schedule. You can attract those new customers and clients and send traffic from your Instagram bio to the pages where it's going to convert. You can also brand your bio. Create a personalized landing page with your Instagram images and your brand color, as well as custom CTAs. You'll be able to track and measure the ROI of Instagram directly in the Tailwind app. You can learn where and how that traffic is being driven. And really, if you are trying to attract new clients, you need to make sure that you do have a place for them to go to learn more about you, to sign up, to get to know you before taking that jump. Thank you all so much for joining me. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me at melissa@tailwind.com. And that's it. Hopefully you feel like an Instagram master now and you know how to go from finding your perfect audience to closing the deal. I'm going to go ahead and kick it on over to Elisa, and she's going to teach you all about Pinterest.
Lisa Meredith, Pinterest Product Specialist at Tailwind here. Today's topic is Pinterest SEO. And before you say, SEO, boring, complicated, technical, it's really not, especially when it comes to Pinterest. So incredibly useful, very actionable, and kind of fun and interesting peek behind the scenes of the Pinterest machine. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So stick around. All right, so let's get into it. Traffic, leads, and sales, that's what we want on Pinterest, and SEO is a great way to get there by increasing the distribution of your content and helping people who will engage with it find it. So we're going to cover a little bit about the basics of Pinterest, what Pinners want, and then a deep dive into SEO for Pinterest and a special offer from Tailwind. Why Pinterest? Well, 416 million monthly active users is a good start. Growing quickly this year. 2 billion searches monthly. We want to be in as many of those as possible, or at least as many as make sense. 240 billion pins saved. This is kind of an old stat. I would love to know what it is now, but that's just a lot of activity going on. People want the content and they want to share it and save it. 78% of people say that content from brands is useful. This is unlike other sites where brand content can feel like an interruption. It really feels like it adds to the experience on Pinterest. And because of that, 83% of pinners say that they have made a purchase because of something they've seen from a brand on Pinterest. Okay, so let's get seen. Another thing is the longevity of your Pinterest marketing. So here is a real example from Tailwind. We have this blog post, which is almost ready for its 5th anniversary. And then it was saved on, 2.5 years ago. And look at what this pin is in this content is bringing to us. It brought 139 link clicks in the last 30 days, which isn't a huge amount, but it's not bad either. The work that you're doing right now can really continue to pay off for years and years to come. Share of visits from Pinterest, it's growing. We'll see that in a minute, but also look at that. 29.86% of all social media referral traffic is coming from Pinterest. Not bad when you consider the fact that most people aren't really trying, right? On Facebook, people probably put a little more effort into it, try to get people to their sites. Pinterest, there's so much potential that is untapped, but we're gonna get it. And the growth in referral traffic is growing. Yes, that's what we like to see. So thinking about what pinners want is really important, because if you can figure out how to give it to them, they will reward you with saves, clicks, and sales, which is exactly what we want. So what they want, 2 big things. Inspiration. People come on Pinterest to find cool things to do, try, or investigate. Inspire them, help them to feel confident that they can do this, they can get this, they can be this. And then they want to take action. So they want the information that's required to get from that moment of inspiration to actually fulfilling it. So 2 things to remember: inspire Pinterest users and inform them. And that is going to be like the basics to getting your content out there and having it succeed. So there have been some changes in the way Pinterest works, which is normal, right? It's not a social media network, even though it gets lumped in with all of them. It is a search engine. It's a search and discovery engine. So what used to work is similar to the old days when keyword stuffing worked for Google. Doesn't work anymore. And spamming Pinterest with overly repetitive pinning does not work on Pinterest anymore. Not only does it not help you, it can actually get you suspended, as people get irritated by seeing your content over and over and over again because you're pinning too much. What they want is new content. They want fresh ideas that haven't been on the platform before. So the easiest way, well, not the easiest way, but the most clear-cut way to do this is to create new content for your site. So like a new blog post, a new product, or a new offer. But you can also do it by creating new ways to present your content. So for example, in this situation here, my friend Jessica had this pin on the left from years ago, and it was still bringing her almost 2,000 clicks per month. This is not bad, right? But she just kind of on a whim decided to update the image, make it look a little bit more modern. And in that same time period, she got 10,000 link clicks to that one pin. So, you know, if we were being real intentional about this, we would probably use different text on the image. And for right now, we're talking September 2020, we would probably have some angle about remote learning, maybe, or the challenges that they're facing specifically now. But at the time she remade this was still super relevant. So when you are creating fresh pins or any pins at all, you do want to make sure you know what's working. So you can use Pinterest Analytics, or you can just hop over to Tailwind's Top Pins report, which is really simple and easy, and will give you a save rate and click rate so that you can see like which images are working, which designs, which topics are working the best. This is one of my favorite little features of Tailwind. All right, so let's talk about where people are finding your pins. Some people get very concerned with the way their profile looks and having board covers, but that's not where people are typically finding you. Typically, they're finding your content in search. That's where I find most of my content. I bet it's where you find yours too. Also, the home feed, that's just kind of a nice place to kind of scroll and see what catches your eye in the moment. We want to be there too. There's the following feed, which is pretty much chronological of all the accounts that you follow. It's not something I use. I would love to hear if it's something that you use often. There's also a more like this. So when you click on a pin, underneath that image is going to show more like this. And this tends to be a place where a lot of buying goes on. So you definitely want to try to get there. So how people search. 97% of searches are unbranded, which means they're looking for kitchen remodel ideas as opposed to Korean countertops. People are much more open-minded when they start searching on Pinterest than if they're doing a Google search. They're looking, again, remember that inspiration and information, they're usually at the very beginnings of their journey on whatever project they're undergoing or whatever research they're doing. So in this case, some words that go well with kitchen remodel ideas are layouts before and after on a budget, no brand names in sight, which is cool. You can also search by visual search. This is one I typically use just to see how it works, but people can go to your image, select the area, and then see where they can buy this product. So that's one of the good reasons to have your product front and center in your image so that this can work for you too. If you have the Pinterest Save extension, you can go to just about any website and use that little circle with the rounded cutout square in it to select a product or a photo, and then Pinterest will search for things that are visually similar, which allows you then to find other options to buy, which, you know, if I'm Nordstrom, which is where this came from, I'm happy Nordstrom is returning. Not quite so happy other vendors are, but hey, that's how this works. And all kinds of options for you there. You want to be in those. Again, your product needs to be front and center. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. How does Pinterest know what you're pinning? They're starting with interests. So if you like to get into the technical weeds of things, I highly suggest you follow the Pinterest engineering blog on Medium. It's really interesting. They give away a lot of great information. I bet I read the 3 or 4 articles about SEO that they published 10 times each. in order to put this together for you. But please, by all means, go check out the source. It's amazing. So one of the first things I do is assign to your pin, to your content, something they call interests. So this is a screenshot showing that they have analyzed this image and they have figured out what's in it or what they're going to assign for interest. So dogs, mammals, animals, skiing, snowboarding, right? Pretty accurate stuff. There are over 20,000 interests, and we can't even see them all. We can see several thousand in a list that they have. Hopefully that link is still working. There are some weird ones like man caves and grammar, pub wedding, and annelid, which I had to look up because it's a worm. I'm not sure like who's interested in worms that they're looking them up on Pinterest. Don't know. But all of your content is mapped to certain interests on Pinterest. A big part of any kind of SEO, and Pinterest is no exception, is the keyword extraction. So where are they looking for keywords? We're going to go through each of these individually. So they are looking at the pin title. They're looking at the text on your image, believe it or not. They can read that. They're looking at your board description, board title, pin description. So you want to keep consistent keywords across all of those places. They are also looking at your site. So every 24 hours or so, they are crawling your site to look for the title, description, and text and pick up your keywords from there. They're also expanding a bit. So they're taking data they get from Pinterest users and using that to assign keywords to your pin. So on the right, I have searched for red curls, but they're showing me a few that don't have those keywords in there, and something that they might try, like putting a few in there that are a little outside of the keyword search results you'd expect. And then if they find that people are clicking on those, like if a lot of people are clicking on crochet braid hairstyles for red curls, then they're going to assign that keyword to that pin, which is kind of cool. They're basically letting us build their search engine. They are also pulling keywords out of the pin itself. So they're looking not just at those other things that we talked about, like the text on image and the title and description and all that. They are actually able to see what is in your image. So here's what they're pulling out. Pretty cool. Very cool, actually. So in other words, make sure your keywords are in all the right places. They are also able to see what your image is. So in this case, they have identified it as Audrey Hepburn style, which is rather specific, I must say, and 1950s fashion. So I'm sure that guitar is also in there. Probably hair wrap, maybe curtains. Can't say for sure, but they are able to analyze what's in your image. And again, they do read your text. So if you're going to put text on your image, make sure it's legible, and not just to people who most of the time we're on our phones. So make sure it's legible for your phone. But you can see this again is from the Medium blog showing what they're reading. They're not able to read the B in that big bookshops because of the scripty font. So if you want to use scripty fonts, and I know like we all do, because they're pretty, you might want to consider using them for words that are not your keywords, right? And it's obviously, it's not going to make or break you because there are many different factors that go into keywords and your SEO. But in general, to get the most signal out there to Pinterest what your content is, make sure your keywords on your text are legible to them. You also don't have to worry about covering everything. So Pinterest will add plurals for you. They'll add similar words. Like if you use tips, you don't have to also use ideas. They're going to expand that for you, which is cool. So now you've done all this work with your keywords. How is Pinterest seeing your pin? Well, there's a way you can tell that. So if you click on your pin and you look at more like this, what's showing up? Is your pin actually like that? if you do it and you look right away, my experience has been that Pinterest will immediately show more like this, which is visually similar. So it might have similar fonts and colors and themes visually, but the topics might be way off. But don't worry about that. Check again in a week or so. They usually get better over time as they've had time to scour your website and figure out what your content really is. It's kind of cool to see it to refine over time. Just try it with one and see what you find. So in this case here, 10 Instagram story ideas. Have they done a good job with their SEO and other things? Yeah, they have. So the best 7 apps for making killer Instagram stories, how to use Instagram to grow your blog. It all kind of makes sense. It will vary a little bit. Like there's one for Facebook groups for bloggers. That's not exactly the same, but it's on the same line. And again, Pinterest search and discovery, so they're going to go outside the exact. This breakfast one here, this was a promoted pin, so it doesn't count. You might notice that they're using hashtags. So for a long time, hashtags were no on Pinterest, and then they were yes. And now the latest is that they are completely optional, and you should spend more time thinking about using your keywords in other more natural ways. So that's the news as of now. Okay, so we know like how Pinterest is seeing your pins, how you can give them the signals you want. How are they ranking your pin? Okay, so most of it has to do with relevance. And if you go to Pinterest webinars or you read what they write, a lot of times they do talk about this relevance. What does this relevance mean? Well, this is it. So one part of it is text relatedness, right? So they don't want people to click on this beautiful pin image on the left and go to a page about how to groom your dog. It's just a terrible user experience. So that pin will not be shown in searches. It's probably going to get reported for spam too, right? So like on the most basic level, we can all understand why that is important and why that can help you or hurt you in Pinterest SEO. So again, you're going to use the keywords in your pin that are on your website, thereby giving Pinterest all the clues they need to know, oh, great, this pin is very related to this content. This will be a good experience for our users, so we're going to show it. They also are looking for image visual similarity. So it doesn't have to be the exact same thing. You don't have to actually show this tall pin in your blog post. But this is a great example where the image is similar, but not exactly the same. It still creates a good experience for the user. And I know you're probably wondering, well, does that mean I can never experiment with different designs? No, like by all means try. You never know kind of what sort of design is going to catch people's attention. But just know that this is something that Pinterest does look at. Again, they know what is in your image, so they want to see what's in your image also on your website. It doesn't have to be exact though. So if you had a product image like the one on the right and you pinned that to Pinterest, and then the one on the left is on your website, like they know it's the same thing. It's a cart. They're able to identify it. It's super smart, right? But it is helpful, especially with products, to make sure your images are similar. They're also actually looking at the text on image and the text in your on your pin to be similar to the item in your picture. Now, for a lot of us, that's difficult, right? So if I'm writing about how to improve your SEO on Pinterest, like how do I visually show that? How could there be any similarity between my image and the text? There probably can't be, but you know what? Everybody else who's in my same industry has the same situation. So don't worry about it. It's just in a case like this, obviously, if you put on the text on image, like how to knit a blanket, it makes no sense, right? So give Pinterest those consistent signals. There's always that element of pin engagement and popularity when it comes to ranking content on Pinterest. It's very similar to Google, right? So Pinterest shows your content to your followers first, which is why you want to have engaged followers, which is why things like Pinterest Tailwind, where we will suggest a schedule that pins when your followers are most likely to be active and engaged, is important. So in this case, this pin has been saved 14,000 times. That's a lot. It also has a photo and comments, and people who get comments on their pins report that the ones that do have comments seem to do a lot better, get a lot more distribution, and therefore bring in more traffic. I say those people who get them because I don't get them because I don't write about recipes or DIY, and that's where people tend to engage with that sort of content. So if you're not in that industry and you're wondering why you're not getting comments, it's, you know what, probably nobody is, and it's okay. But if you get them, that's awesome. Pinterest also looks at you, right? So if somebody says, I am number one in search for X term on Pinterest, it's just not a thing, right? You can do better, but everybody's going to see something different because of who they are and what Pinterest knows about them. So their gender, their age, where they come from. And even if you're thinking, well, I didn't put in my gender, I never put in my age, I signed up a long time ago and they didn't ask, they have you figured out. So you're going to see different results because of who you are and what you engage with. And what you're interested in. So remember, we talked about how all content is mapped to interests. Well, all of us have interests that are assigned to us as well. And I just think it would be so fun to go to an event where everybody had a word cloud above their head of all the interests that Pinterest thought applied to us. And I would really like to meet the person who was interested in annelid worms. Or maybe the normcore person, because I don't know. You probably know what that is. I don't know. And another factor is, what kind of pins do you like? So the format of the pins. Do you like video pins, static pins, story pins? Like, what do you like? And this became very evident a few weeks ago with story pins, where I was just kind of investigating, checking some out, and all of a sudden my entire home feed was covered in story pins. Pinterest has since kind of adjusted the algorithm to show more of a mix of different content types, but they still do take into account your preferences, which is cool. Oh, and also a good reason to use multiple pin types when you're creating pins for your content. Okay, so we kind of figured out like where to use keywords, but what should they be? There are some ways to figure this out. So you can use the autofill when you're doing a search on Pinterest. So just start with your basic Google SEO keywords. They're going to be different, right? Because we talked about how the intent is different, typically starting kind of earlier on in that decision-making process. So maybe not looking for specific running shoes, like not looking for maybe Brooks running shoes. They're looking for running for beginners or running tips. So build from there, like write all these down and keep going down that rabbit trail, because it's never ending, which is kind of cool. Guided search, whether you have this or not, is kind of up in the air. Not sure what's going on with it. But it's these tiles that appear. So let's say we entered running as a search, and underneath that, Pinterest is saying, all right, in connection with the search term running, you might want to try motivation to lose weight. I mean, that's not really what they're saying. What they're saying is, oh, you search for running, you might be interested in running quotes. But as marketers, we can use those kind of cues to help us figure out what we should be writing about. The order in which they're displayed does not seem to be indicative of the search traffic volume, because I've tried from different accounts and it's not the same. So if you have this, awesome. If you don't, scroll down in your search results, and sometimes they're kind of in the column instead. So when you search, like click on one of those, it'll just keep bringing you down to more and more detail, right? So running for beginners, how to start running for beginners. That could be your next blog post title that could do really well on Pinterest. Okay, images that convert. Let's just talk about this a little bit, because all the SEO in the world isn't going to help you if the images aren't good. Except sometimes it doesn't matter. You probably have had this situation where your most popular pin is the one that you wish you could delete because it's so ugly, it's embarrassing. Don't delete it. It's bringing you traffic. It's all good. But in general, there are some things we can do to give our images a better shot at performing and our business a better shot of benefiting from Pinterest. So including a call to action in the image, so request a demo, like telling people what to do, and in the description can result in 6% more sales. I mean, if we could just add 6% more sales on top of our bottom line, awesome. 13% more sales when you keep your pin, right? So that barely there pin consistent with the landing page. Meaning, if they see something they want in your pin, can they get it on the page it leads to? If they can't, there's no way they can buy, right? So no more linking pins to your homepage, which I'm sure you're not doing anyway. 20% more sales? I mean, now we're talking an extra vacation or hiring a VA to help out, because 20% more sales is huge. So leaning into seasonal events and everyday moments can really be helpful. And what do we mean by that? So seasonal events are things like holidays, right? Or graduation time, or summer break, spring vacation, holidays of all kinds. Everyday moments are things like breakfast time. Interests might be like, make me healthy, help me find something to wear. They're just kind of endless. So if you think about it, like, what seasonal event, everyday moment, or everyday interest is appealing or would make my product more appealing? So on the right, we have this example of Stitch Fix. This is like no brainer, right? It's really easy for them to be seasonal. So how can we be seasonal? It's a little bit harder sometimes if you're not in fashion or recipe, home decor, DIY. All those kind of have that natural seasonal bent. What we can do is kind of fake it a little bit. So one thing you can do is alter the colors that you're using based on the time of year your content comes out. So if my content is coming out now in September, I'm going to be leaning into those rich fall colors of orange and orangey red colors, maybe some gold, because that is what is appealing to people right now. You can also look at trends or trends.pinterest.com to see what people are looking for right now and see if you can lean into that with your pins, because, hey, we want that 20% more sales. You can include a price, right? So in these instances, these are promoted pins, which you can make expire so no one can save them. There aren't going to be those expired prices out there on the web. That's the last thing you want. But something most of us can do is use rich pins or product pins that will have constantly updated pricing on your pins. Definitely want to do that. Another thing, so this is brand new from Tailwind. I think we made this video yesterday. This is a tool called Create, and I'm just gonna like quick little demo here. You put in your blog URL, your blog title, upload some photos, or share some, or save some from the stock photos, and then you get this stream of really beautiful pins, and you can filter by what you're trying to promote. You can add a call to action text. You can change the subtitle text. Anything you change on the left there changes on every one of them automatically and instantly. It's just, aside from being very cool and incredibly time saving, it's just fun because it's super smart. So we're watching some of the options you can do. It will choose the colors for you from the image, if you can try that, or the other color palette is from your brand preferences. So you can add your logo, website, or brand name. You'll be able to upload your own fonts and set your colors. And then you can tweak it as much as you want to make it completely unique. There's also an advanced editor where you can do all sorts of cool things. So we want you to try that. tailwindapp.com/create and use code THRIVE to get in on the beta, on the wait list. It's really fun. Trust me, you're going to like it. Okay, so action items. create some new optimized content at least weekly. Ideally, you're creating new content for your website, but at the very least, you're going to be creating a new twist on your existing content for Pinterest. So thinking about how can I make my content appeal to those seasonal events or everyday moments or interests that might appeal to a different audience. Get to know your analytics, right? So get to know what's working so you can do more of that. Remember, every time you're creating a pin, how people are searching. They're searching for inspiration and ideas. Use your keywords in all the right places, right? So we talked about that. Just use them everywhere you can, and that'll keep you covered. And try Tailwind Create. So tailwindapp.com/create. So as you're spending a little more time, maybe thinking about your SEO or thinking about how can I make this content appeal to a new and different audience, you need to save time on your workflow. So in Create, you can create your pins, you send them directly to your drafts in Tailwind and schedule them out. It saves so much time in your workflow. So again, please sign up for that. We really want to see what you create and hear what you think of it. And in the meantime, if you're not yet a Tailwind member, you can save $30 when you upgrade by starting out at the code, at the link bit.ly/TW-Thrive. Yeah, it's a great deal, and you will be able to try out Create. Let us know what you think, and just make all of your Pinterest SEO work will go a little bit quicker. So thanks for being here, and well, have fun pinning.